The collaborative cycle is the core kind of collaborative technique to move your work forward. And it's something that's just a modified brainstorm within a meeting with some structure around it so that you move your work forward and you actually work together to get the work done. So typical meetings are used for presentation, reporting, discussion, status updates. I'm not going to say it, but also, often they're a waste of time. Often you could coordinate work without having to meet together through email and such. Now, getting together to see each other during these times is really important. But typical meetings are used for really information swaps, not moving work forward, if you will. And most people don't have a productive way to collaborate with your colleagues. We haven't done that. That's not something, again, this industrial mindset of work means you go do your work, you go do your work. Let's have a meeting about if you guys gotten your tasks done. That's not collaboration. That's coordination. And then the first thing I usually hear is, well, if we involve too many people in this, or if I have to constantly get together with my team and we're all having ideas, how are we going to choose? It's going to be designed by committee. We're going to have something very bland. Okay, you're going to have to get rid of that mindset and move into a more productive way of collaborating. So let's talk about what the collaborative cycle is. It's an alternative meeting structure, simply. It's a working meeting structure. It focuses on the generation of content, teams synthesizing it by organizing it and discussing it, and then deciding on how to move the project forward. This is very different than a team meeting where somebody's making a presentation. And it's easy and fun and energizing to implement. It provides good camaraderie and momentum for your project. So it's real simple, but I ask that you start to commit this structure to memory and implement it in small ways in 20-minute cycles, as well as maybe an hour cycle or an hour and 20-minute cycle sometimes when you're really getting into something and you're good at this. So you always set it up with a topic or question. What are we going to brainstorm about? Or I want to know everybody's feedback on last week's implementation of of the last project, if you will. Okay? There's always going to be a topic or a question. The topic could be, we need ideas for reaching out to people in the community. We just need more ideas for that. Okay, so you set up a very specific topic of what you want answers to or ideas for. Then you take about 15, 20 minutes to generate ideas. And you always generate ideas on separate sticky notes or separate half sheets of paper. We like using half sheets of paper because you get 2 out of every one, and they're not as expensive as sticky notes. So then you generate those ideas. And you can start out quietly and have everybody write down 5 to 7, and then start sharing and continue the brainstorm. But usually that takes about 1/3 of the time, the generating the ideas. And then when the popcorn stops popping and you're not generating a lot more, then you put your pencils down, move over here, you put your pencils down and cluster and name them. So you take all those ideas and you get them into an affinity sort, that's what it's called in quality circles, but you're trying to put like ideas with each other and just generally separate them. Don't overthink it. Just get them organized a little bit. And we have ideas about using existing infrastructure. We have ideas about using the electronic means or text. And there's ideas over here about engaging more partners in the community, right? And so you kind of separate the ideas into clusters. Then you start discussing and sharing them with each other or somebody from outside the group. Hey, we just did a brainstorm on this. Let us share some of these 5 areas we came up with and get your feedback. See that little principle of sharing work? You just did a brainstorm, organized them, and shared it. But discuss it as a team. What kind of ideas do we have here? What are we missing? Which one has kind of a lot of excitement for us? So you're synthesizing those ideas in clusters, and then you're figuring out next steps. This is the collaborative cycle. It may seem simple. You may forget to do 1 or 2 of these steps. That's not good. You always want to do this in a way that gets you each one of those steps, even if you're doing it in 15 minutes. Set up a topic. You could brainstorm for 5 minutes, organize them, discuss them, and talk about what to do next. That's a quick huddle, right? It works that way. But you're going through very different modes of action, from setting up the topic and making sure that's clear, to generating ideas. This is get as many things out as you can. That's the creative process. Sorting them starts to organize them a little bit loosely. Discussing them helps you understand where people on the team stand in relationship to those kinds of ideas. Oh, we shouldn't be even talking about that because last time we tried it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, good to know that that's how it is. Okay, this is maybe off limits, or we want to talk more about why that's the case or how things have changed. Okay? And then figuring out next steps is like, oh, given that conversation, what should we do next? We found a big hole in our thinking here, or we clearly have to talk to these people, right? So you've figured out more about your project and move it forward. Okay, that's the collaborative cycle. So what we'd like you to do with this lesson is apply it to your project by setting up a topic. That is, what are all of our assumptions about our project? What do we know and what are our assumptions about our project currently? Now you're in the very early stages. You may only have a title or a paragraph or two, but now is a great time to get your team together in Miro and do a collaborative cycle on this and write down everything you think about the project, your assumptions, and where you're at with it, okay? Just do that, organize it, and then you can see where you kind of start out. Maybe there's already constraints you're putting on yourself. Maybe there's big unknowns of like, I don't even know what we're working on. This is how you find out and move your work forward, right? Okay. So there's your topic. Brainstorm for all your assumptions. Share with each other and sort them into clusters. Discuss the clusters and what it might mean for your project and how you're going to start. And agree on a few small follow-up actions. Again, doesn't have to be big. Don't make big things. Start small. Learn fast. That's the way we do things.